Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back once again. We are covering the question of Chuckle. That's very much important. Specimen 1 published by ACCA. Now time for step 3. Step 3. Come on. Step 3. Part A2. 3 marks question. Focus on exhibit 1. Explain how Grin Company should be accounted for as an associate using the equity method in consolidated statement of financial position of Chuckle Company at 31st March X6. This is the question. Okay, must ensure that before writing the answer, before attempting the question, have you planned the answer? Planned the rule 1, 2080 about time management. For 3 marks question, you have approx 5.5 or 6 minutes. 20% investment, that's 2 minutes need to invest for reading, understanding that you have done it, and it's a simple question. And compose your mind. Compose the points in your mind. Execution, 80% time. With this type of question where equity accounting, reference and calculation, 4 to 5 minutes, it's good enough for assemble and drafting the answer. So within 6 minutes, you have to complete this answer. Be careful. Please be careful. You have read the requirement, read and understand the requirement very carefully. Once again, here the explanation required how how should be explain how Grin Company should be accounted for as associate using equity method in consolidated statement of financial position at 31st March X6. Originally the investment was made 1st April X4. Now it's 31st March X6. So you have to refer the equity accounting method and application with respect to this case. Now rule number 2, mind mapping. Mind mapping. Jot down the key points. Here the scenario is about something knowledge and application. Number 1, for out of 3 marks, 2 marks belongs to equity accounting knowledge, where basic explanation and connect with the case. With this type of question, if you are explaining equity accounting, you need to incorporate the name of the case as well. So automatically, knowledge and application, both part you will be able to write simultaneously. And then, whatever the equity accounting method you refer with 2 marks, the next 1 mark belongs to explanation of the calculation. That's how Grin Company accounted for in the balance sheet of Chuckle Company. So, number 1, refer the exhibit 1. Here, very categorically, it's mentioned that Chuckle invested 30% 1st April X4 and the amount 100 million cash. 100 million cash. And first para, last line, green highlighted. Grin Company has been stated that cost in the consolidated balance sheet. So it's something error with this question. So error adjustment that will made with the last part of the question, but here we will state that at consolidated balance sheet that should be accounted for with equity accounting, that's 100 cost plus share in post acquisition reserves. And here last paragraph mentioned that the first paragraph, the carrying amount of net assets 1st April X4 286, and last para, carrying amount of net asset 31st March X6 348. So the post acquisition movement is 348 and 286, and it's categorically mentioned the increase in net asset, it's exclusively with the reason of profit and has paid no dividends by the associate company, that's good company. So it's very simple. Now refer the suggested answer. Refer the suggested answer. Come on. Here is the suggested answer for you. Number one, very clear. For total 3 marks, out of 2 marks, you just mention the equity accounting, and here knowledge and application both works together. Grin company is an associate, should have been accounted for using equity method in the consolidated financial statement of Chuckle in prior year as well. You have to mention here. Therefore, Grin company has not been accounted for associate. A prior period adjustment should occur. And the financial statement of 31st March X6 should be adjusted. So a little bit explanation about the prior period adjustment, because here only 2 marks. Only 2 marks. So this explanation, it's available with the model answer, but I don't suggest for 2 marks you need to incorporate more details. For example, the general principle of IAS 8 is that entity must correct all material prior period errors retrospectively in the first set of financial statement authorized for issue after their discovery by stating the comparative amount for the prior periods presented in which error occurred. I don't think that for 2 marks question this is relevant. If the question requirement is 6 marks, then you have to refer this part. So first put the reference, equity accounting, and make a prior period adjustment. Then explanation of the equity accounting with knowledge level. The initial investment is measured. Here the equity accounting is measured at cost, and the carrying amount of this investment is increased to recognize investors' share of the profit, that's retained earning, and other comprehensive income after the date of acquisition. That's a point. That's a point. In consolidated financial statement, one line should be included with non-current asset and investment associated. Once again, this is your knowledge, and that can be used when the requirement is more than 3 marks. First this paragraph, second this paragraph. That's more than enough for 2 marks. Further, equity accounting for Grin. Explanation of the working. What the explanation? At 31st March, investment associates should be valued with initial cost of 100 million already recorded plus need adjustment for 30% increase in net assets since acquisition date. And this is what 100 plus 348 minus 286. 348, this one, now that's 31st March X6, and 286, 2 years ago at the time of investment. 348 minus 286 into 30%. So the value 118.6. The increase of 18.6 should also be included in the consolidated retained earning. I wanted to highlight 2 important points here. Number 1, if examiner mention explain the equity accounting point, that's a requirement here. So you have to explain your working rather than show the calculation. as you normally do with F7. For example, if some student show or attempt the question with the working of equity accounting in a calculation aspect, cost of investment plus share and post acquisition profit and total 118.6. Sir, is this right? Actually, examiner requirement here or expectation is that you need to explain your working, demonstrate your ability to explain the working. So that's why here it's good, or you will be able to get full marks if you explain the working rather than to show only the format of the equity accounting work. Another issue, if a student asking that, sir, if we show the working of equity accounting as well as explanation as well, it's a duplication of work. It's a duplication. If examiner particular mention explanation of the equity accounting points, you just refer your answer, or you just attempt your answer in this way. If examiner sometimes mention calculate and explain, for example, calculate goodwill and explain the working, then you have to work out with the goodwill and explain the goodwill as well. Or calculate some calculation, for example, disposal and other things, and show the explanation as well. Here the marks are not available it's not justified for only 1 mark, where a student put the efforts for showing the calculations and explanation of the work. So that is the point need to consider. Any confusion you can ask me. So that's the point. Furthermore, one more thing, last. Because with the new exam structure of with the pre-populated spreadsheet functions, and you need to make some adjustment for errors and any missing figures. So whenever you are attempting some calculation part of the question, you have to bear in your mind that the situation is not over here. The situation is not complete here. This adjustment will reflect with the spreadsheet answer as well. So you have to bear this thing in your mind. Okay, so that is all with respect to this part of the question. Now, last point, examiner report insights. What examiner says with examiner reports. Now, come on. Many candidates just explained that initial investment is measured at cost, and the carrying amount is increased to recognize the investor share of the profit and other comprehensive income after the date of acquisition. So if any candidate show only this para and not connect with the Grins company, so this only reflect the knowledge, where examiner says that however candidates could not apply the principle to the scenario. So the application of equity method accounting is basic requirement of SBR exam, and candidate could have scored at least half marks for its correct application in this question. Second point is that knowledge is not enough to pass the SBR. You have an ability to connect the knowledge with the case, that's called application. It was surprising how many candidates did not provide a basic explanation of equity method of accounting or make a reasonable attempt at the calculation. I must say this is somewhere about F7 knowledge. No tolerance. Examiner says no tolerance, zero tolerance. If you demonstrate that, if you demonstrate about the lack of knowledge about F7 syllabus, it's very difficult that you will be able to qualify the exam. Last point. Candidates will losing relatively easy marks if they do not understand nor apply basic assumed knowledge of financial reporting principles. SBR is based around the application of principles, and candidates should be able to take advantage of application of basic principles, as there are much more difficult areas of SBR syllabus which candidates have to deal with. So knowledge simultaneously application. So this is what all about this part of the video. I hope you are getting very valuable insights, and all these things you need to consider and then attempt the questions accordingly. Quality practice, the most important thing. Thank you very much. Wait for the next video. Assalamu alaikum.